Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We had a little extra long break. That's all right, because we want to keep jamming with y'all, have some more competitive jams. Shout out to everyone who had a good time with that one. All right, up next, I'm super excited about this. It's his first time here at Email Camp. Ladies and gentlemen, Lee Monroe, head of design over at One Signal. Ladies and gentlemen, can I get some crowd love for Lee in the crowd, please? There we go. There we go. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get Lee's talk queued up here, and I will see y'all in just a little bit.
All right. Thank you, Thomas. It is an honor to be on the card for this inaugural Message Mania pay-per-view. Actually, if I rewind the clock 25 years, this was my first website. It was a wrestling website. Now, this isn't it exactly, but it looked a lot like this. It was built with GeoCities. It had a guest book. It had under construction GIFs. It was best viewed on Netscape Navigator 4. And I was the webmaster. This was the golden era of web development. It did get a little bit better than this and got some traffic over the years. And then I eventually had to take it offline as I received legal letters from the WWE for copyright infringement. But that was my first taste of web design success. So it's great to be here. My name is Lee Monroe. I'm head of design at One Signal. And I've been building websites and digital products for over 20 years. I'm based in Belfast in Northern Ireland and spent over 10 years in San Francisco and Silicon Valley working in product and design roles at various startups. And One Signal is a customer engagement platform. We support email, push notifications, SMS, in-app messages, and journeys. And we send over 12 billion messages a day. And 1 in every 5 new apps use us in the App Store for their messaging. And messaging and email is something I'm very passionate about. I have various projects in the space. 10 years ago, I open sourced this email template that has over 13,000 stars on GitHub. I have a couple of design systems in the Figma community, including an email design system with 13,000 users, a push design system with 50,000 users, and a website called postdrop.io that lets you test and manage your HTML email templates supporting over 10,000 monthly active users. Today, I'm going to talk about how email is great, but you should be investing in omnichannel, and this is why. And then I'll dive into push notifications in a bit more detail. But first, a short story. I want to tell you about this guy that I know. This is Nicholas. And Nicholas is a man of determination and vision. He was born into a life full of challenges. In fact, he unfortunately lost his sight in one of his eyes early in his career, but that didn't stop him. In the 2000s, he had become a project manager for one of the world's leading tech organizations. And he was assigned a project, a very special project, to protect the world from unprecedented threats. And to help him do this, he first recruited Tony Stark, otherwise known as Iron Man. And Stark brought incredible power and innovation to the table. But Nicholas, also known as Nick Fury, quickly realized one person alone couldn't handle all the challenges they faced in this particular project. So he expanded his search, and he brought in a god, a super soldier, a highly skilled spy, and a few others we're familiar with. And this diverse group, of course, became known as the Avengers. Now, each member had unique strengths and capabilities, and together they formed a formidable team capable of tackling any project, including defeating the menacing Loki. And this team had great return on investment. At the end of the quarter, their KPIs looked great, their OKRs were green, and they all celebrated their performance. And just as Nick Fury uses a team of superheroes in his projects, in our own work, combining different strengths and approaches often leads to more successful outcomes. Just like Iron Man, email is great, right? Email's been around for over 50 years, before a lot of us were born. The first email was sent by Ray Tomlinson in 1971. And we've learned a lot over those years. We've learned how to personalize, how to automate, how to segment, deliverability, dynamic content, click-through rates, accessibility, privacy issues, dark mode, A/B testing, different measuring techniques, different deliverability techniques, responsive design. The list goes on. And despite these various, quote, death of email reports over the years, email remains the most successful messaging channel. In a recent study from Mailjet, they find that over 75% of consumers prefer to hear from brands via email. 75%. And over 72% of consumers mostly check email on their phone. However, there are constant new challenges with email. Privacy changes make it harder to track attribution, inbox providers changing the rules, lower open rates, AI, and higher competition than ever for the inbox. And everyone knows these best practices. We've had over 50 years to refine them. So how are you differentiating? How are you competing with these other brands? Enter omnichannel messaging. The first SMS was sent in 1992. That's over 30 years ago. Steve Jobs announced the iPhone in 2007. And then 2 years later, we had push notifications. That's not that long ago. Unlike email, most of us were alive or remember this. Live activities were introduced less than 2 years ago. So it's highly likely most of you are not engaging with users via live activities because they're so new. It's not about thinking of engagement on a single messaging channel anymore. It's about how you utilize all these messaging channels together to create a cohesive customer journey. Mobile push, in-app messaging, live activities, email, SMS, web push. One Signal, we recently conducted a state of customer engagement report. We studied data from over 500,000 apps and surveyed thousands of our customers. And one of the many metrics we find is that using more than one messaging channel increases average engagement by 35%. That's massive. 35%, just adding another messaging channel to what you're already doing. So most of you, probably all of you, are already sending email, but with numbers like this, it's time to think about that next channel. So here are some brands that are doing it well. Your Parking Space is a UK-based parking reservation service that allows people to find and book parking by leveraging existing unused spaces in their area. A lot of their users will download the app and book just once. Their goal is to nurture, remind users they are there, and get repeat bookings. So when they launch a campaign, for example, this airport fast track offer, they send this beautifully designed email, nicely branded, good visual hierarchy, clear call to action. And they send a push notification, again with clear value, an offer, some emojis to stand out. And once you're in the app, a reminder with an in-app message of the offer and a clear call to action. So together they have all these touch points across messaging channels. And they have been able to increase campaign net revenue by over 1,000%, taking advantage of multi-channel for their messaging, over 1,000%. Zenni, the largest online retailer of prescription and non-prescription eyewear, they see significant sales through their mobile app. So their marketing campaigns are more mobile focused across different channels with the goal of increasing sales. So here's an example of a Black Friday promotion last year. This is an email, has the offer, nice photo, clear call to action. Here's the push notification, same offer, clear call to action. The SMS, same offer, call to action. An in-app message in the app, offer, call to action. So really nice campaign orchestrated across all these messaging channels. And they don't just blast these to everyone at the same time, of course. They are personalized. They check to see if the users actually made a purchase, and they wait between each message across the day or multiple days. So it isn't just 5 blasts at once. They've been able to increase lifetime value by 22% with customers that have opted into these life cycle channels. 22% increase in lifetime value. Let's dig into push a bit more. Okay, it's 15 years old, but I know we're still not taking advantage of it the way we have email or even SMS. When OneSignal conducted our State of Customer Engagement report and interviewed thousands of marketers, 76% said that push is the highest performing channel in the first month after download. 76% said that push is the highest performing channel. So if you have an app and you're not investing in push already, this is where you want to pay attention. So why push? Push has high opt-in rates, averages of over 60% on mobile across iOS and Android. Push doesn't require users to hand over personal information like an email or a phone number. Push is cheap, unlike SMS that can cost upwards of 2 cents a message. Push is also very quick. You can send over 1 million messages a second. And just like email and other channels, there are lots of use cases for push for your industry. Alerts and reminders, promotions and discounts, driving engagement and conversions, transactional updates. We're all familiar with what push notifications are, but do you really know what they look like and what they're capable of? So this is an iOS notification, for example. So it has an icon, an image, buttons, a title, and a message. Each operating system has the same functionality for the most part, but slightly different look and feel across iOS, Android, Mac OS, and Windows. So you want to take this into consideration and test how your push notifications look across these operating systems and devices before you send them. Just like email, very important that you test before hitting send. So how do you win at push? It's 2024 and we're still doing this, blocking our websites with pop-ups, permission prompts, bots, cookie consent forms. Every website looks like this today. Don't do this. Don't immediately ask for permission. The user just landed on your website or downloaded your app. So why would they give you permission to send notifications already? Don't make it hard to opt out. Just like email, you want to make it easy to unsubscribe. And don't oversend. Be respectful. Do use pre-permission prompts. So we have found that a pre-permission prompt can improve opt-in rates by 50%. So what's a pre-permission prompt? Let's go back to Zenny. This is what they do. This is a pre-permission in-app prompt telling you why you should subscribe to get offers and discounts. Then they have the native opt-in prompt appear after. Now you only get one chance with the native prompt. If the user says don't allow or they decline it, you can't show this again, which is one of the benefits of using the pre-permission prompt. Do be timely, relevant, and precise. Make sure your content is valuable and what the user opted into. Use emojis, add some delight and character to your messages. We find that emojis will help increase the click-through rate when used in the title, but not necessarily the content, which is interesting, which is why you need to A/B test. Always be testing and experimenting to figure out what works with your audience. Personalize, just like all messaging, make it about them, the things that they care about. Use urgency and fear of missing out, help get those clicks. Segment your audience based on their behavior and their preferences. Schedule for their time zone, ensure the messages aren't disturbing them during the night. Email is great, but if you're not combining email with other channels like push, you're missing out on building a robust omni-channel relationship with your customers. Remember, Nicholas, combining different strengths and approaches often leads to more successful outcomes. Thank you. I'm going to hang out for some Q&A, so feel free to send some questions. I'm also very curious who else had a GeoCities website back in the day, so hit me with some questions. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up Lee's talk right there. There we go. Let's go and get Lee on stage. Lee, come on up here, bud. Here he comes. Here he comes. Let's see here. There we go. What is up, Lee? Thank you so much. Also, make sure you show everyone your amazing sweatshirt, by the way. A little throwback there.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, WrestleMania going back to number 6, one of my favorite shirts. Yeah, so always a good excuse to wear it.
Right, right. I love hearing that story about your GeoCities website, and it always takes me back too. And even too, when you were talking about, can you imagine, or do you imagine and remember when the first iPhones were rolling out and we didn't have push notifications? That was so long ago, in such a time. It took me back for a moment. I was in high school only, but that took me back in time for a moment. I was like, oh man, I remember that. So
I know, yeah, you forget the progress we've made over the years and when that was, and yeah, it's still push is still so relatively new to its siblings like SMS and email. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into some Q&A real quick. Make sure you upvote the questions that you want answered. Throw those in the Q&A tab in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at those, see what we got. We sort them by most upvoted. Okay, so the one I actually submitted from an external channel, people want to know, how do you avoid annoying people if you hit them with the same thing on email, SMS, in-app, and a push notification? Lee, what are you thinking?
Yeah, so I guess it's all about what context you're setting when you get people to opt in. Some people want this, some people don't, right? If you think about something like an Uber, if I order an Uber or a Lyft somewhere, I want to be notified by a push notification with a live activity, maybe hit with an SMS as well. I want to be notified as with as many channels as possible to know it's on its way, it's here, here's my receipt. So it's fine in that context, in that situation. Whereas maybe if I opt into one offer on a weekly basis, but I get blasted across these different channels on a daily basis, that's not what I signed up for. It's not what I expect. So you want to manage expectations there. Whatever the prompt is or whatever context you're giving them when they opt in, make sure you stick to that. Give your customers preferences. Preference setters is very important. So just like email, preference setters across your messaging to make sure they can opt in and opt out at the right moments. And yeah, it really just depends on the use case, your industry. If it's a breaking news app, for example, if you're the Times and you're sending news alerts, you might want to just get a news alert every time there's something important to look at. So it really depends just on what it is you're sending them, and yeah, what they signed up for, and giving them the ability to easily opt out.
Got it. All right. Let's see here. Moving on through these. Do you have any, I like this one a lot. Do you have any successful A/B test examples from your experience where you managed to increase push opt-in rates?
Do I have any successful A/B test examples? Let's see. I can't think of any specific examples for increasing opt-in rates, but yeah, like this is like some things that you can try, right? Different types of prompts. So for example, there's first of all, the pre-permission prompt that I showed an example with Zenny there, right? A soft, or also known as a soft prompt. So giving the user the ability to see, here's what the value I'll get by opting into this, and don't just hit them with that immediately when they've downloaded and opened your app for the first time. Hit them at a moment where they've had some success or they've got some delight from your app. So I think that's a good strategy. A/B testing when you prompt. So it could be early in the process. It could be when they've had some success, had some delight, or just after they've entered their details and they're sort of coming accustomed to onboarding in your app. So different times, and then also different designs and different look and feel of that prompt, whether it's a full screen modal, a slide prompt from the bottom, slide prompt from the top, different call to actions. There's different ways you can experiment there. I'm trying to think of, do I have a good example of specifically what has worked or what hasn't worked? I always just fall back to the soft prompt example, where just don't jump in with the native prompt immediately, because you'll lose your users if they opt out. And you'll never get them back, because they have to go into the settings, they have to find notifications, they have to turn it back on for your app, and no one does that. So just always use the soft prompt, the pre-permission prompt. That's what I would recommend.
Love it, love it. And speaking of, let me see here. Andy want to know, can you elaborate on the don't pop up versus the do pre-permission prompt? What's the difference? Let's break those down.
Yes. Okay. So let's start with mobile. So with iOS, often you'll download an app, you'll open it up for the first time, and you'll get this native prompt that says, app wants to send you notifications, and you could opt in and opt out. So you don't want to do that. And the reason is you only get one opportunity to show that native prompt in iOS. So let's say they opt out. You're not going to have another opportunity to say, hey, please opt in and subscribe to our push notifications. If they did, like I just described, they have to go into their settings, find a notification setting, and turn it on, which is, hard to do for most people. Most people aren't going to spend the time to do that. Same with web. So with web, you go to a website and you'll maybe see a native prompt top left of your screen that says, website wants to send you notifications. So that's an example of a native prompt. So instead, you do want to do the pre-permission prompt, which is an HTML prompt, so not a native prompt. That is, hey, we would like you to opt into push notifications. Here's why you should do it. And if they hit yes, then that triggers the native prompt. If they hit no, it just hides, and then you don't trigger that again for another period of time, or until there's another moment where it makes sense to ask them. So that way you get to try again and likely increase your opt-in rate for time.
Got it. Love it, love it. Okay, Lee, I think we got time for one more. Let me see here. Okay, yeah. Someone wanted to know, for reactivating customers, what do you recommend sending along with emails?
Yeah, for reactivation, so sending along with emails. Well, yeah, whatever you can get them to opt into. So if you've got your customers opted into SMS, got them opted into push notifications, utilize those. Obviously, you don't want to spam them, but you want to figure out, okay, what's the right cadence, or when's the right opportunity to send messages, and ideally along a journey, a customer journey. A reactivation is probably, you don't want to blast them across all three of those channels at once, but strategically send them messages. But yeah, certainly utilize whatever the customer has opted into, and just send them some sort of value, right? Some sort of offer, something to get them back, whatever that hook is that will get them back into your app or back to your website.
Love it. Awesome, Lee. Awesome. Man, unfortunately, that is all the time we got today for you, but I seriously appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to be here. I
Yeah.
finally got to meet Lee after so many years of hearing about him this past year, and we got to hang out. Such a good dude. Lee, I hope I
We
get to
did.
see you for the end of the year.
Thank you. I didn't get
yeah,
any
man.
GeoCities questions. Yeah, I thought I would have got some old school web development questions. Showing my age.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nah, don't worry about it. Lee, where can the good people find you if they want to follow along with anything that you got going on with your work or omnichannel stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. On LinkedIn, Lee Monroe. Please connect. Would love to connect. And Twitter, X, Lee Monroe.
Love it. Lee Monroe, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him a crowd cheer for that. Love it. Yeah, and also the
Thank
hand
you.
molding. Lee, thank you so much for being here, man. We'll see you soon. All right.
Pleasure. Thanks.
Leave Monroe, everyone. All right, let's get moving on to the next session. See you in just a moment.